Welcome back to SnowRunner and Taymyr. On the last episode, we went into the Rift map and discovered it using the ANK. We picked up a new scout for our fleet, discovered all the tasks, and even took care of one of them. On this episode, we're going to put the Dan into commission by taking it back to the Zimnegorsk garage. We'll get it set up and use it for the heavy lifting in the map. Let's get started. First thing that we'll do is put in the mid-level engine that we picked up already. I'm going to leave the special gearbox, some OHS2 off-road tires, more on that later as to why I'm not using mud tires. We'll install an advanced heavy winch, a spare wheel, and a flatbed. Of course, we need some off-road lights and the horns, and I've grown partial to these JAT wheels, so we'll get those installed as well. Alright, we'll leave the garage and we'll head out to the gateway. It's just outside the garage parking lot to the left. We'll head back into the quarry map, run it up to the top of the hill, and head into Rift. The Dan probably isn't the best choice for this map because it has such large overhangs on the front and the back, and the Rift map has a lot of really steep inclines. Something with short overhangs would probably work a lot better, but this is the vehicle we have. I've been itching to get it out into service, and this seems like a good application for it. One of the benefits to using this truck is it has extremely good fuel economy, a rather large fuel tank, and a lot of power. I kept the special gearbox in because we don't have the top engine in it yet, and I want to be able to use the high gear going up hills and inclines, and it just seems to power out when using the advanced special gearbox. Okay, the first thing we'll do once we're here, heading down the road, we'll take our first right, and that's going to take us up by the area where we left the Tatarin on the last episode. We'll get started doing work right there. I chose to use the off-road tires rather than mud tires because there's a lot of rocks and hills and stuff that we need to climb here. The mud tires don't do that good on those rocks and hills. The off-road tires will perform a lot better, even though the mud rating is less. There's pretty much always a place that I can winch myself out if I'm going through some deep mud, but not always the case vice versa. I do like the OHS2 tires. I believe the mud rating is 1.7 on them, so it's not as high as, say, like the OHD ones or the UOD2s. We'll get topped off with fuel, and the first thing we're going to do is work on the in with the new task. We need to haul 4 pallets of cement to 4 different houses. So we'll get loaded up with 2 right away. We'll head out of here. We're going to take our little shortcut that we found with the Tatarin, going down by the shoreline, and we'll cut through the trees. It's a little bit muddy here, but thankfully we have a tree to winch to. Should be just fine. Now we can cut back through the trees and head over to the swampy area. I don't think it really matters which houses we go to first in this situation, so I'll just pick 2 and we'll start unloading. There are some stumps right through here you got to watch out for. Just get a nice overhead view, you should be fine. Now we can head back and load up 2 more and do the same thing again. I do really enjoy using the Dan. It's going to be a while before we'll see the suspension upgrade. It has an active suspension that we can pick up when we're in Maine, but Maine is a long ways down the road. I do wish they would have put it into this map, but I guess that's how it goes with afterthoughts. We'll cut back up the hillside here. We do got to watch out. There's a lot of stumps through here. Just kind of pick a path that looks right. Don't try to drive over them because you get stuck on them and it's really difficult to get off. We'll get topped off with fuel one more time, get loaded, and then this time we're going to bring the fuel trailer with us because it's part of another task that we'll need to take care of after this. So we'll take the same route out of here. Definitely going to need a winch this time. The trailer is bogging me down in the mud for sure. The Dan's got a lot of power. It's a pretty good truck. It's extremely fuel efficient. It's also one of the unique heavy trucks that allows us to install either a high saddle or a low saddle. Let's put some fuel into the little Zix here. That's part of the task that we need to restore it, so we might as well top it off before we head out. And we'll drop off these other 2 cement. I completely missed the first house. I drove right past it. We'll just drop the trailer and back up there real quick. Okay, we got that one taken care of. Let's get back over there. We'll hook up the trailer. We'll head to the other one. It does get pretty muddy through this part, so I'm probably going to need to winch through here. No big deal though. We got that one taken care of. We'll drop the trailer here, and we're going to switch to the uplink contract. So we need to haul 2 wooden planks to the base station, which is on top of the hill in the center of the map. We'll head over to the lumberyard and get loaded right away. The bridge is washed out across the river, so I'm not even going to try to go across right there. We'll just head down the shoreline a little ways, and we can cross right here, where it's a lot easier. We'll get topped off with fuel and repairs. We can just back up, turn around, and we'll head back out the same way we came. A lot of these sharp inclines and rocks, the Dan likes to get the front end stuck on, but we should be able to get through them just using winch. Pull the front of the truck sideways or straight up even. I'll head back down the shoreline, cut through the trees, and get back on the road. Now there's a road coming up here that I usually do take. It's the one to the right there. It has really sharp inclines, and with this truck, I know it's gonna get stuck and struggle through there, so I'm just not even gonna take it. We'll just follow along next to these houses. This is the way we just came when we unloaded the cement, and then we can cut through the trees here. Once I get through this mud, we'll just cut through the trees there and cruise right up the hill. Now we're back to the road. Now I've found that there's a couple ways to get up this hill that work, but with this truck, this is the route that I'm taking. It's always good to plan your route depending on the vehicle that you're using. If we had a different truck in here that had a short front end and a lot of ground clearance, then I would probably just come straight through this valley from the other side. But with this truck, I'm definitely going to drive down the valley and then take the hill at an angle. Then we'll just head straight up to the top. You do got to watch out for these rocks. I like to stay closer to the trees in case I need to winch myself, because you get stuck on those rocks and you can't move and there's no way to get off of them. So we dropped off the fuel tanker, and that opened up the fuel station here. And we also dropped off the 2 wooden planks, and that unlocked the second stage of the contract where we need to haul 2 metal beams up here. We'll head back over to the lumber mill, and there's a metal beam warehouse in that same area. We'll just backtrack and take the same route back. Starting to get a little bit of a road here formed. We can see where we're going. Okay, we'll follow the shoreline and cut back across. The lumber mill is just up the road. Starting to get a pretty decent trail through here now. I'm only really going this way because I want to repair this before we get loaded up again. So we'll jump into the A&K, get everything fixed, then we'll head out of here. The metal beams warehouse is just down this road, so let's cruise down here. Discovered another Scout flatbed there. We'll have to cross the river again. There we go. Now we can get loaded. We'll cut off the road and follow this little ravine down. There's a shallow crossing over here, and then we'll just go through the trees. And now we're back to the housing area where we were at before. Just keep following the same road. It does get worse each time you drive across it. The mud gets a little deeper, gets more tore up, but these are pretty good tires, so I don't think we have a whole lot to worry about. We'll head right back down into the ravine again. The front end is starting to get stuck there because we're tearing it up and sinking a little deeper. So we just got to use that tree to winch it up. Back up the hill again. I think I managed to get stuck on a rock. It's a pretty good sized boulder stuck underneath me there. There it is. Okay, 1 down, 1 to go. The Dan is a really cool looking truck. Personally, I usually use it the most with the heavy crane. It makes a really good crane truck. But I do like to use it in applications like this, and also even with the low saddle, a lot of times I'll use it to pull a sideboard bed. It just never runs out of fuel. It's super efficient, has a lot of power. It's a good old truck. Now with the JAT tire pack, I do like to put the mud tires on it. They're quite a bit wider than these, and they do perform pretty well in the mud. Being a heavy class truck, it's got a little extra weight. It does struggle with turning because the front axle is set back from the front of the truck so far. It seems like every time I go to turn, it's always just a little bit late because the front end has to take that extra time to swing around. But with all-time all-wheel drive and all-time diff lock, there's not a whole lot that this thing can't handle. We'll cut back out and head down the ravine again, cross in our shallow spot here. When I first started playing Rift, I was always trying to find the best route to get to the top of that hill, and I tried a lot of different routes that were kind of like more cliff scaling, going up the cliffs and stuff, and I did find some success through there, but it was really sketchy. Half the time I'd end up flipping or falling and getting stuck between rocks, couldn't get out, and I'd always have to bring another truck in to rescue myself. Eventually I realized that I needed to drive all the way around the hill and come up from the other side. Ever since I started doing that, this has become a pretty easy contract. Oftentimes I do use the Step 310 in this map because it's a smaller truck. This map works best with smaller trucks, it seems like. It does have a lot of clearance, and it's a pretty good little off-roader. It works pretty well in here, but we haven't discovered it yet on this playthrough. We'll use this one. I have a friend that would bring the 8-slot heavy trailer in here. And he used to bring it up to the top of this hill. And I remember it was one time he got stuck right on the crest of the hill. It was pretty difficult to get him up there, but he did. Okay, the next contract is called data mining. We just need to pick up this service trailer and haul it over to the abandoned mines. That's exactly where that watchtower was, where we left the step 310 sitting there for that task. So we'll head down in the bottom here. The service trailer is kind of stuck in between some rocks. I've tried pulling it out quite a few different ways, and what I've settled on is backing right up to the top of this hill here. Of course, I don't usually have this much issue getting up the hill. Seems like I'm just sliding around on these rocks. Okay, I'll drive down and get straightened out. There we go. All right. So just hook a winch up to the front of the trailer, get it as short as you can so it kind of pulls up on the tongue, and then just drive straight forward. The trailer bounces right over the hill. Personally, I've found that that's the easiest way to get that thing out of there. Just my opinion, of course. Now we can take this road, cross the river here, and then we'll head up the backside up to the abandoned mines. We're basically just backtracking our steps from when we came down this way, discovering the map with the A and K, so we can take the backside of this hill up to the top there. I do like to stay close to the trees once again, just in case I need to winch myself over a rock or something. There's nothing worse than being all the way out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have a winch point out there to grab onto. Okay, that's taken care of. Now we can grab the step 310 and we'll work on the old faithful task. We just need to haul this to the service station. We already repaired and restored it on the last episode. So we'll head back over to where we found the Tataran and we can just cross that way. This entire operation is basically just going backwards from how we discovered the map. So we'll go down in the bottom here, cross this rocky area, stay on the road, and then when you see this structure on the left here, you can cut through the trees to the right. There's a pretty wide open clearing. I guess I need to turn a little sharper and just jump over to this other road here. We'll follow it up and then we'll take a right at the intersection. It goes up into the rocks and it's going to take us right around back by the gateway where we can just cut back down to the service station. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. We'll drop the step 310 off right over here by the Scout flatbed. Now that that's taken care of, we won't be needing the Dan anymore at this point, so we'll just back it up and park it. We're going to jump back into the A&K. The next contract is called Loud and Clear, and we came prepared for this with 2 vehicle spare parts. Make sure you unpack the trailer. The game definitely does not like that. And now we can repack the trailer and we'll run over and hook up to the loaf. We're going to bring this back to the service station. We repaired it already, just got to haul it in. So we'll get connected to our trailer and then hook up to the little loaf and drag it behind us. Should be pretty basic. Now that we have a well-established route across the map, it doesn't take long at all for us to move from one side to the other. This time we can stop over by that other task that we have left where we need to restore the little Zix. We'll just swing by there and repair and refuel it. Looks like the mud is a little bit deep through here. I probably could have driven around by the houses. We would have gotten through here a little easier. It seems like the SnowRunner devs usually try to give us hints on the best routes through an area by putting tasks there, like say maybe a contest that'll show you a route that you wouldn't normally take, or in this case there were the 4 houses with cement. If you follow the path that we took to deliver that cement, that's basically the quickest and easiest way to get through here. We'll just park this right here. Let's jump back in the Tataran. We'll run it down the hill, grab that little Zix and drag it over to the A&K. We're going to need both of these vehicles anyway so that we can haul both vehicles back to the service station. This thing really plows through the swamps. Okay, we can repair it and refuel it. We already refueled it, so let's just repair it. We didn't have enough repair points. But that's alright because we can restock our repair points at the service station, so we'll just continue up the road with the loaf and switch back to the Great Nomad task. Then we'll hang a left up here and go back across the ditch. And the service station is just on the other side. Alright, we got that one taken care of. Let's get our repair points restocked. We'll jump back to the Tataran. We'll haul the little Zix in. On the next episode, we'll be heading into the Zimnegorsk map and start uncovering everything. This one did not take us long at all to take care of. And that'll be the last map of the region. We're getting close to finishing up Taymyr, and it's gonna be pretty soon. We're gonna be heading into Kola Peninsula, which I'm really looking forward to. Want to thank everybody for coming out and watching today, hanging out. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.